Hi, Ingrid. How are you? Thank you for joining the show.
Hi, Tia. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited for our interview. So, you're the author of the book called The Strength of a Woman. And also, you wrote another book called I Thank My Past. Now,
Yes, yeah.
let's discuss on those books. What made you write those books? And if you would like to share with us a little bit of your background.
Well, I'm originally from St Lucia, the Caribbean, and I came to the United States when I was 18 years old to get myself a job. And in the process, I went through some trials, which put me in a place mentally where I did not want to be. And because of that, I was able to write a book. I was depressed. I was suicidal. I was afraid. I had a lot of fear in me and anxiety. I was in the stigma of shame, and I had to heal. In order for me to heal, I began writing, and there came the strength of a woman. I wrote my story. In my story, what I wrote is to encourage people, to rebuild people, to empower people, to strengthen people.
That's wonderful, Ingrid, because let alone with the pandemic, I also have just personal stories of people around me committing suicide in the last year and a half. And it's been a very tough year for a lot of people out there. I think your story needs to be told. Now, I wanted to ask you, so what was your background like exactly and how did it start? I know at one point you did become homeless too.
Yes, I became homeless. I had to go to a homeless shelter. I went to a homeless shelter called Family Promise. I did not want to go to a shelter. I was ashamed of what was happening to me. I felt like going to a shelter was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. It can happen to anybody. I went through this shelter, which I didn't want to go at all, but going through this shelter called Family Promise, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because whilst being at that shelter, I grieved a lot. And whilst grieving, I began healing. Eventually, it became a book. It became a book called The Strength of a Woman, with all my trials, my tribulations, everything that I went through. And by writing this story, people who have read it loved it. It touches people emotions, and it also, let people come out of the stigma of shame.
Very nice. Thank you very much. So let's take it back to the very beginning of your story, just generally generalizing your story. What was your childhood like? And what was the most, obviously being homeless was the most difficult part of your journey, but how did you get there? How did you end up being in that situation?
Well, sometimes you meet people in life who tells you certain things like, they're going to be there for you. They love you. They're going to help you. But when your back is against the wall, you really find out who really cares about you. Because I broke my foot. And when I broke my foot, I lost my job a month later. And my whole, I lived with a man, and he put me in a bad frame of depression. So now my mind is broken. My heart is broken. Every part of me is breaking, and I'm sinking deeper and deeper into depression. Eventually I became homeless because I had to go. He was, he didn't want me around anymore. My life changed, and, but I'm not gonna say that I regret what I went through, because if I didn't go through that, I would not be able to have this book today. And that's when I think my past came. I look back at it and I say, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be broken the way that I was broken. And today we are just unstoppable. We are just very happy that, 2019, this book came out in April, and this one just came out in 2021 in April again. So I'm just so thankful for my past, what I went through, because it made me a stronger and a better person.
What kind of job were you working in at that time?
So at that time, I was a nanny. And being a nanny in America, it's, you find some very good employers who really care about you. But there are some employers who just, I need my work done. And in my case, my employer, she needed her work done. But I'm still grateful for what happened, because if that didn't happen, I would probably still be a nanny. And today, I work in mental health and I love my job. I help people who go through mental health, mental situations. We talk, embrace people, and sometimes from my job and from my past to where I am today, a hug can go a long way. Just a hug can fix somebody that is broken. A hug can start putting back pieces. And I'm just so grateful.
Who is this man? So did you meet him during the time you were working, or was he a friend of yours? How did you guys turn into lovers?
Yes, this man and I, we were dating, we turned into lovers. We lived together, and we were planning on having a great life together. But unfortunately, I broke my foot, and it showed me who he really was. He was not the one for me.
I see. It was more like maybe he felt irritated or something that you couldn't perform normally, like the way you used to.
Yes, and it was, for me, what I saw was a weak man, a man who did not want a woman that is sick, a man who only wanted a woman for the good times. And she's not supposed to be sick, and she must also have an income all the time.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, Ingrid, it was when you broke your foot, you went to go live with this man at his place, and you saw his true colors. That's when he wanted you to get out of his house and leave. And that's when you went homeless because you lost your job. Right?
Yes. So I was dating this man, and we were in a relationship for 2 years. And we lived together. And in the process of dating and living together, I broke my foot and I saw a different person. I became homeless because every day he came home, he was nagging, get out, get out of my house, get out. And it was a total different story.
So you were living with him way before you broke your foot. And
yes.
You were healthy and you were running around and working and things were good, but it became a tragic when you no longer could do the normal things you used to do. So what happened at the homeless shelter?
Well, at the homeless shelter, I was really scared because I've only seen people at the shelter on TV, how it goes. But I went to 2 shelters. At the first shelter that I went, it was not good. I went to a second shelter called Family Promise, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. This shelter was great. Family Promise, they embrace you. They are family. They make sure they keep you and your children together, and they cater for both men and women.
And where are they located?
So Family Promise, it's all over the U.S. I went to the Family Promise in the one in New Jersey, but there is a Family Promise all over the U.S. And, lots of people, the way Family Promise runs is it's a nonprofit organization, and people donate to that shelter to take care of us.
Was there a waiting list to get in, or?
Yes, there is a waiting list. There is a waiting list to get to Family Promise. But in my case, I must say God was watching over me. There was a waiting list. So that's why I went to the first shelter. And whilst I was there, I did not want to be there at all. And I went somewhere else. And whilst I was somewhere else, Family Promise called me. I used to still need of a home. I'm like, yes. They said, when can you come? I said, today. So I quickly grabbed my stuff. I'm like, now. And I quickly grabbed my stuff, and right away I went to the shelter, and it was the best thing that ever happened to us. The best.
So it was a co-ed facility. Do you have any children or a child?
I have one child, yes.
Was a child with you during that time?
Yes, she was with me. She was with me throughout the whole shelter. She was with me throughout the whole homelessness.
How old was your daughter? So was she living with you and your boyfriend also?
Yes. My daughter was 10.
So she's seen it all from the beginning of your leaving your job and your relationship with your boyfriend.
Yes.
Were you married before? Did you have your ex-husband?
Yes, I was married before. I was divorced.
And that's another chapter itself, right?
Yes.
Whole story is another book.
That's another book.
When did you become a Christian? And was this the event that took you to being the lowest of your life, so you seeked God, or were you a Christian to begin with prior to
No.
that?
So I was raised in a Christian home, but I was rebellious against God because I thought like God had forgotten about me. There were things that I wanted to do for fun and God, and it did not permit because of my mom's faith and, her religion. But when I came to the US, I turned my back on God and I was just living my life. I would pray, but whenever I remembered, when I was at my lowest, the only thing I had was God. When people laughed at me, people gossiped about me, people, enjoyed my pain for absolutely no reason. The only thing I had was God, and I had no choice.
That's beautiful, because a lot of people don't even find God when they hit rock bottom.
I know.
And it's a shame because, he's always there for us, but we only run to him when we need something or when we need something.
Yes.
Or in need of help. And he's such a sovereign, merciful God that he even takes us in times like that. And he takes us back and over again. So were you a writer before, or did you like writing? Were you always an author? Is this the only 2 books you've written?
No. So what happened is I was not a writer, never have thought about it, and never imagined. In my darkness, I was praying a lot, but I was writing the things I was going through. This is not something that I wanted people to know about me. Mm-hmm. But when God strengthens you, there is nothing that can hold you back. Not even shame, not fear, not shame. And if you have faith is something that as long as you have faith the size of a mustard seed, anything is possible. Faith is simply believing the things that you cannot see. So I began building my faith. I began praying and I began believing things that I could not see. And the level of my faith to where I am today, I'm just ecstatic. I am just overjoyed with who I became through this process of fixing, of, being broken to who I am today.
I understand you completely on that because I wrote my first children's book during the darkest time of my life. And I've never written a book before. It was kind of like journaling at first, and then it became a story. But yeah, God has his mysterious ways of shining his light, through people that really love him or that seek him. If there was one thing, because your daughter is how old now? She's 15 now?
Mm-hmm.
So all these things happened 5 years ago, but I'm sure it took a while for you to get situated and get over the hurt and the pain. Maybe you're still going through that pain, or you think God completely healed that department for you?
Well, I'm restored. I'm blessed. I am highly favored. I am healed.
And that's why you can say, I thank my past, because it's a past now, right?
It's the past. So that's why I thank my past. And all those who were involved, I've forgiven them. I am not in connection with them, but I had to forgive them to be at peace with myself and to be a better person. Anger is something that is going to hold you back. And when you're angry, it's 2 things. Either you hold on to it to become more bitter than you already are, or you let go of it. You get angry and you fix it. And my situation is I wanted to fix it. Mm-hmm. And I fixed it, and I thank my past for what it took me to and from, and it also allowed me to draw my strength throughout my past.
America is like a second home for you because you come from, was it the Caribbean islands?
Yes, I came from St. Lucia. But basically, I've spent more of my life in America than St. Lucia.
So you went to school here? You went to school, like high school and...
Not really. I got my GED here and I went to college. I did some college here, but I did schooling in St. Lucia. And I came here when I was 18. So I have lived most of my life here. So, and I just go home to visit sometimes.
So were your family back at home when you went through all that trials and tribulation?
So honestly, they didn't know. It was very embarrassing. I didn't want anyone to know. It was scary. No one knew. They didn't know. I shut everybody out. I shut everybody down. I went into a nutshell like a snail. I went into that shell to fix myself. I decided I had to be fixed. Nobody can fix you. You have to determine and decide, I want to be fixed and I am willing to fix myself. And that's what I did. My family, they even didn't know that I was writing. They didn't know anything about me and my book because I kept it on a down low. So whilst God was fixing me, I was working. You know, you don't want people to spoil your plan. You don't want people to say to you, oh, you're not a writer. You didn't go to school to write. Who do you think you are that makes you believe you can write? And that would be negative for me. That would be something that's going to make me think and hold me back. So I kept my writing to myself. I joined a lot of writing groups and I kept a lot of things privately. And until when it came out, everyone was shocked. They were like, oh my gosh, you wrote a book. You didn't say a word. I'm like, yeah, I had to keep.
That's exactly what I did. Nobody knew I was writing. So were you writing at the homeless shelter while you were there? Yeah. So your daughter knew you were writing.
Yeah, she knew I was writing.
And who was the editor? Did you shop around to find the editor, or was it?
Yes, I shop around because I'm in a lot of writing groups. So I shopped around and I post a lot of stuff. When I'm looking for an editor, when I'm looking for whatever, I post it up in the group. And sure enough, I posted, I was looking for an editor and I saw a man, his name was Ian, and I contacted him and whatever. And he said to me, send me 5 pages. And then I met another woman. She said, send me 3 pages. And then I compared and I saw my voice. I saw my writing, my correct words that I left. I gave him, he left it there. He just fixed the punctuation and the grammar and whatnot. But he left my voice in this. He left my story. And I was like, you're the other one. And then, there came this great book. And the thing about it also, Ian, my editor, he has connection with this book because a lot of the stuff that happened to me happened to him as well.
So he was able to relate.
He was able to relate to what I was going through. And, today this book, it has helped people from committing suicide. Today, this book is such a great read that we have turned it into a movie. And we are on the verge of finding investors to invest in me. And, who doesn't want to see a movie that's going to stop people from committing suicide? I think this is going to be one of the best movies ever on screens.
Oh, so is it in production right now or is it already filmed?
No, we are actually looking for investors to invest in me to say, yes, I want to do. But we've turned it into a movie.
You mean like screenplay?
And we've also did our presentation, our pitch deck. We've done that as well. And we've done our budget plan. I hired people. I hired a screenplay writer. I hired a pitch deck designer. They did all of that. So all I'm waiting for is someone to say, you know what? Let me see your deck, your pitch deck. You know what? I like this idea. Let me invest in you. And I know this is going to be one of the best movies ever. So
if I'm correct, The Strength of a Woman is your journey through being homeless and all those stories on how you broke your foot and you were living with your boyfriend. What about I Thank My Past? Is that kind of like a connected story
Yeah.
from the strength
So
of a woman?
what happened is my readers, they were asking for more. They said this book is not enough. You
So that
cannot.
was the first book.
Yes, The Strength of a Woman. My readers said, no, you cannot leave us like this. Some of my readers cried. Some of my readers emailed me because I have my contact in the back. So they reached out. They said, no, I need more. I need more. So I'm like, I went to my editor. I said, listen, Ian, these people are asking for more. He said, you have a lot of leftovers in your book. Go back. He said, go back in whatever the script that you gave me and figure it out. There is more. This is a great book. So I began writing. I began, going back, and I wrote. And then I found myself, my childhood. I had to go back in my childhood, and my biological mother. I had to write about her, and there were just so many chapters coming and coming. And I thank my past is here today because it's a continuation of this book. And as you can see, I have my cover page. It's strictly St. Lucia. This is the map land, the trade of St. Lucia. So in St. Lucia, when a lot of tourists goes right here, they go here for fun and to see a beautiful sight. So because I am from St. Lucia, what I did, I just kept our pictures in my as my cover page, and it has a lot of peace. I like peace. So because it looks peaceful, because I had to have peace to write, so I picked these pictures, and I didn't want it to be too girly because I didn't want people to think it is only for girls. Mm-hmm. This book is for men as well. Men have reached out to me. Men who don't reach out to me, say to me, I only do finance. I only read finance book, but your book had me hooked. Your book is great. And I love your book. And another young man reached out to me and he said to me, your book is so great. I felt every bit of it. I'm going to treat my wife and my daughter much, much better. I promise you, because of your book. And I feel really good when people reach back out and they feel they tell me about their emotions and what they felt and how they're going to change their life and what they're going to do better and different because of this book.
Did you photograph those yourselves, the cover?
So no, I actually, someone gave me this picture, and it was a guy's picture in London. So I had to stay up all night one day to find him because he copyrights all his pictures. Yeah. So I had to pay him for this. But I actually went to St. Lucia, and I went on a boat ride in St. Lucia. Yes, I took this picture myself. Yeah. Because I spent too much money on this picture. So I wanted this picture
to be original.
Yeah. And I wanted it to be the color of the petal green. So I had this vision in my head the petals are green. So I had the vision in my head what I wanted it to be. The water is blue. The water smells good. The sun is on all the water. It's shining. It's really nice. There's a shining glow on top, on the water. So when I went to get this picture, I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. But
who did you take that picture with? Did you take it with your phone or?
Yeah, I took this picture with my phone.
Wow, the quality came out pretty nice.
Really, really nice. Galaxy 10 Plus, it just came out at that time. So the camera is awesome.
How many pages are both books?
So this book is 215, and this book is 146.
Nice. Do you have any more plans to writing more books?
Well, so far, my readers, I don't know why they do this to me. They're already asking me for part 3 of this book. So I said to them, please allow I Thank My Past to do as well as The Strength of a Woman, because The Strength of a Woman did very well. And even if The Strength of a Woman, in my eyes, in my opinion, it is a bestseller because it has a great message. and it has helped save a lot of lives. And I think anything that helps save lives, it is the best. And they're asking for more, because the way I write my story to lift up every emotion that is in you, whether it be tears, whether it be chills, whether it be your nerve, whether it be something. I just want to touch your emotion. I just want you to see and feel my story. And if I have your attention that way, I know I'm nailing it. So far, I've nailed it with part 2. And the readers, the same set of readers who asked for more, are already asking for more. But due to COVID, I used to go to every event. I would go to every book event. I would go to everywhere of they need a vendor. I would go there. But now, because of COVID, we don't do outdoor sales anymore. We don't do, so I do my own personal sales by Facebook, word of mouth. I share, I do lives, I do stuff like that. And I'm on Amazon, I'm on Barnes and Nobles, I'm all over. And we are worldwide. We are in the US, we're in Canada, we're in UK, we're all over, because we want everybody to enjoy our product. And we want everybody to have this book, because when the movie comes out, the book is always longer than the movie. So when the movie comes out, we want people to know exactly what happened here and what happened here, because stuff are going to be missing in the movie.
So please tell the audience where they can find you or contact you, where your book is selling at, and all that good stuff.
So my book is on sale on Amazon. We are on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. We are Outskirt Press. And I can be found as author Charlery on Instagram. I'm all over. I'm always, and we also have an author page, author Charlery. And we can be reached there. We also book. We are booking for public speaking on encouragement, and we speak to people who are going through depression. So anybody who needs a public speaker on depression and stuff like that, we are available for that. We are all over. Author Charlery on Instagram and on Facebook. And I can also be reached at Ingrid Charlery 784 at gmail.com. I'm available to anyone that is in need of someone to talk to or a shoulder to lean on.
Could you spell your last name, please?
My full email, Ingrid Charlery, INGRIDCHARLERY 74 at gmail.com.
Thank you so much for your time, Ingrid.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Tia. I appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.